We live in an age where many people share absolutely everything. Every meal, every outing, every rehearsed smile in front of the mirror ends up in a story or a post. And I don't judge them. It's the reflection of a world that has convinced us that if it isn't shared, it almost doesn't exist. But there's another group of people, invisible, silent, different. They don't fill their feeds with personal photos, they don't document every step, and precisely because of that, they seem to stand apart from the game. The uncomfortable truth? They are the real protagonists of this video, because they've understood something most overlook. That not exposing yourself constantly is not a sign of weakness, but of intelligence. You might wonder why someone would choose to stay in the shadows when everyone seems to be fighting for the light. The answer is deeper than you think. These people don't post not because they can't, but because they know all too well what it costs. They've discovered what others haven't yet seen. That every photo you hand over to the world is a piece of yourself you leave in someone else's hands. And they're not willing to sell themselves that cheap. And here's the point almost no one dares to say. Not posting anything, not showing yourself, not offering your life on a silver platter is an act of power. A silent act, but full of meaning. Because when everyone else runs toward exposure, the one who stays behind isn't falling behind. They've chosen another path. A much more solid one, where identity doesn't depend on applause. And that kind of intelligence isn't measured in likes, it's measured in freedom. Now think about this. What does it really mean not to show yourself on social media? It means that your story, your steps, your most intimate moments remain only within a circle you choose, not in a showcase open to anyone. It means you don't need to turn every experience into a public display to validate it. It's like keeping a secret. What remains only with you gains a much more special value. It's no coincidence that the most important things in your life are rarely the ones you post. When was the last time you uploaded a photo of real pain, of a tear without a filter? Exactly. Almost never. And those who decide not to post anything know that life wasn't made to be an exhibition album, but to be lived. But let's go further. Behind that choice, there's also a fascinating social component, the control of the narrative. When you share constantly, your life seems open, accessible, almost public. And that creates the illusion that anyone can comment, judge, or even claim ownership over what you show. However, those who don't expose anything, who maintain distance, become a mystery. And mystery, in a society oversaturated with information, is power. Because what isn't shown raises more questions than what's shared without measure. Here's where many get it wrong. They think visibility is synonymous with influence. But what they don't understand is that true influence comes from selective silence. Think about those who rarely post, who stay in the background. And yet, when they speak, when they appear, they draw everyone's attention. Why? Because they're not worn out. They haven't diluted their presence in 1,000 trivial posts. Their absence creates expectation, and expectation is far more powerful than abundance. This is the psychological secret few comprehend. Showing less is, in fact, showing more. Rarity turns the ordinary into something special. A single photo, a single word, can carry immense weight if you're not used to constantly seeing that person display themselves. On the other hand, when someone posts non-stop, their image becomes predictable, repetitive, even invisible within the digital noise. And those who don't post know this. They've understood that scarcity holds tremendous value in a world overflowing with excess. But there's another, deeper layer that connects with identity and authenticity. Posting constantly creates a dependency, that of external validation. The brain gets used to receiving microdoses of dopamine every time someone likes, comments, or reacts. It's almost Pavlovian conditioning. And little by little, without realizing it, you stop living for yourself and start living for the gaze of others. What you eat, where you travel, how you dress. Everything begins to be designed not to be enjoyed, but to be shown. Life becomes a showcase instead of a real experience. And what do those who don't post do? They free themselves from that trap. They live what they feel without thinking about how it will look on a screen. They eat without photographing, travel without announcing, laugh without needing proof. And that, psychologically speaking, is gold, because it means their experience is authentic, not filtered through the need for display. They've regained something most have lost, the ability to live for themselves. And notice this, because here lies a brutal paradox. Those who don't post are seen as reserved, shy, even boring. But the truth is, while others give away their intimacy for scraps of attention, they protect it like a treasure. And in that silence, in that apparent absence, they build an invisible fortress, a fortress that doesn't need to prove anything because it's already complete. Now tell me, who do you think is stronger? Someone who needs to show themselves to feel alive, or someone who feels so fulfilled that they don't need to show anything to anyone? The answer is obvious but uncomfortable. Most will prefer to keep posting rather than face it. And here's what truly fascinates me. Not posting is also a form of rebellion. A silent rebellion against a system that wants everything to be visible, that wants you to expose yourself, that wants you to be just another product in the global showcase. By refusing, you become invisible to consumption. You become someone who cannot be measured by superficial metrics. And that invisibility is power. Because in a world obsessed with being seen, disappearing is a luxury reserved for the most intelligent. So the inevitable question returns. Do you post to connect, or do you post to be seen? Because that's the difference. Connection is authentic, intimate, human. Being seen is superficial, fleeting, ego-driven. And those who don't post have already made their choice. They've chosen real connection, even if silent, over empty exposure. So I'll leave you with a reflection that may linger for days. What remains of you when you turn off the camera? If your life ceases to exist without a post, then it was never truly yours. And here's where I want to take you even further, into a realm rarely discussed when we talk about social media. The construction of silence as identity. Because yes, just as some build their public persona through photos and constant exposure, others choose to build theirs through absence. And make no mistake, that absence isn't emptiness, it's strategy. Silence isn't a lack of voice, it's a different voice, far more powerful than the saturation of noise. What's curious is that these kinds of people develop a special aura. They become enigmas. You don't know where they are, what they're doing, or who they spend their days with. And that mystery generates something no algorithm can ever create: respect. In a world where everything is exposed, what little remains hidden becomes valuable. It's the same reason diamonds aren't found on the surface. They lie deep underground. The rare, the inaccessible, sparks desire and curiosity. There's also a social nuance worth noting. When you don't post, when you don't offer your life as a spectacle, you force others to approach you genuinely if they want to know you. Instead of passively gathering information about you through your posts, they have to talk to you, ask you, earn your trust. And that natural filter makes your relationships deeper, more authentic. Those who know you don't know you because they saw it online. They know because you chose to share it in person. That completely changes the quality of your connections. And now ask yourself, how many of your relationships exist only because of what you post? If you stopped uploading photos tomorrow, how many people would still truly care about you? The answer might be uncomfortable, but also revealing. Because those who don't post have learned to distinguish genuine interest from superficial curiosity. And that, psychologically, is a massive advantage. But let me add a twist you might not expect. Not posting also allows you to inhabit life without constantly feeling like you're playing a role. How many times have you gone somewhere thinking about how the photo will look, which angle is best, or when to take out your phone? That thought turns the experience into theater. You're no longer at the beach to feel the sea. You're there so others see that you were there. You're no longer dining to savor the food. You're dining so someone can put a heart on your plate. It's exhausting. And what those who don't post do is escape that stage. They stop acting and start living. And here's the most unsettling part. When you choose not to post, you become immune to constant judgment. Because there's nothing to judge. No photo to criticize, no pose to analyze, no comparison to make. And within that immunity hides a kind of freedom few ever know. A freedom that doesn't need to shout, because it's felt in silence. Now, listen carefully. The true luxury of the future won't be having more followers. It will be having the courage not to need them. In a world where everyone wants to be seen, those who choose not to will be the only ones who truly own something of their own. They will be the owners of their time, their privacy, their peace of mind. And when that happens, perhaps we'll look back and realize that the wisest weren't those who collected likes, but those who never needed them. So I'll leave you with another question, one you might have never asked yourself. Who are you when no one is watching? Because there, in that answer, lies your true self. And maybe those who don't post understood that long before the rest. And if you look closely, there's a subtle detail that changes everything. The relationship with time. Those who live to post are tied to the frozen instant, to the here and now that must be recorded in an image. Every moment becomes an ephemeral display that lasts only as long as a 24-hour story. In contrast, those who don't post experience time differently. They don't rush to capture. They're not obsessed with proving they were there. They simply inhabit the moment. And that psychological difference creates a huge gap. Some live for the photo, others live for the memory. Because here's the unsettling part. Personal memory has nuance. It has smells, emotions. A social media photo has only a superficial version. Those who don't post understand that personal experience, stored in memory, is much richer than the edited image made to please. And that habit strengthens their identity, because their story isn't told through someone else's gaze, but their own. There's another layer, connecting with something even deeper. Emotional security. When you don't show your life online, you protect what you love. Your family, your friends, your happiest moments remain safe from the stranger's gaze, from malicious comments, from toxic comparison. You can't imagine how much anxiety comes from exposing your intimacy in a space where anyone can judge it. Those who choose silence online know this. Not everyone deserves access to what matters to you. And that ability to set boundaries is a sign of psychological maturity few achieve. And now tell me, who is freer? The one who constantly needs to prove they live a perfect life? Or the one who lives without needing proof? That's the difference between being chained to the public eye and living according to your own truth. But let me take you to another, even more fascinating angle: the value of mystery in human relationships. Think about it. In a world where almost everyone exposes their routine down to the smallest detail, those who don't become enigmas. And enigmas attract. They spark interest. They create magnetism. Because what isn't shown inspires more imagination than what's always visible. It's like reading a book and realizing the author doesn't reveal everything. What's left hidden invites you to want more. That's the magic of silence on social media. It turns those who stay quiet into people of intrigue, people who can't be reduced to a digital profile. And this has a direct impact on how they're perceived socially. While many exhaust themselves seeking attention, those who don't post generate a different kind of attention, one that lasts longer. Not through excess, but through rarity. It's as if, in a market saturated with noise, silence becomes the rarest commodity. And you know what happens to rare things? Their value rises. Which leads me to a striking conclusion. Not posting doesn't mean disappearing. It means choosing how to exist. It means your identity doesn't depend on algorithms or applause, but on the authenticity with which you live your own story. And now I'll leave you with a reflection that may stay with you for a long time. If tomorrow no one could see what you do, if the digital world shut down, would you still live your life with the same intensity? Those who don't post already know the answer. They live without witnesses, and precisely for that reason, their life is entirely their own. And now that we've made it this far, before we continue, I want to present the following to you. Our book, The Formula of Awakening, is now available. Do you feel like there's something inside you that wants to awaken, but you don't know where to start? Then I invite you to transform your way of thinking, and with it, your way of living. Discover who you can become. Start today. The link to get the ebook is in the first pinned comment of this video. Grab your copy now at a great price. With that said, let's continue with the video. Tell me, what do you prefer? To be the protagonist of your own experience or a supporting actor in the theater of appearances? And here we are, right at the edge of the ending. And maybe you've already noticed. This video wasn't just about social media, it was about you. About the way you live, about what you choose to show and what you choose to keep. Because in the end, the photos you never post, the moments only you remember, are the ones that truly belong to you. And that's the key. It's not about hiding from the world, it's about consciously choosing which part of you deserves to be shared and which must remain intact, yours alone. Look at it this way. People live in fear of being forgotten, as if not posting were the same as disappearing. But those who never upload anything have discovered the most beautiful paradox. True memory isn't stored on a server. It lives in the skin, in the mind, and in the soul. They know that what's unseen is often what matters most. And then comes the inevitable conclusion. Not posting is, in many cases, a sign of strength, clarity, and authenticity. A way of saying to the world, my life doesn't need a showcase. It already has meaning on its own. That's emotional intelligence in its purest form. Now, I want to suggest something different. Write in the comments the phrase that resonates most with you from this video, the one you want to turn into your personal reminder. It can be a word, an idea, a reflection you've taken with you. That way, we stop playing the game of likes and create something much more interesting. A space for real thoughts. And if this moved something inside you, If it made you think about your relationship with what you show and what you keep, subscribe. Because this channel isn't made for noise. It's made for people like you who seek to go beyond the superficial. Hit like and share this video with that person who always needs to show everything. Maybe what they hear here will change the way they see things. And I'll say goodbye in a different way. Imagine I close this screen right now, turn off the lights, and everything goes silent. And the only thing that remains is what stayed inside you. That echo is the true ending. And remember, sometimes the most powerful thing isn't what's shown, but what's never revealed. See you in the next video. Or maybe not. And that uncertainty, believe me, is what makes it truly interesting.